March 12 is Daylight Saving Time 2017. At 2 a.m., most North Americans will move their clocks forward so that evening daylight lasts an hour longer until November at the sacrifice of normal sunrise times. Daylight Saving Time, sometimes incorrectly called Daylight Savings Time, is a mostly American and European practice. 1. Modern time was invented in ancient times. From left to right, 6 ancient Egyptian priests and 2 warriors. 2 of the priests wear cloaks made from animal skins, and 1 carries an ankh, symbol of life. Hulton Archive, Getty Images. Ancient Egyptians were the first people to document having a 24-hour day. They divided the day into 2 10-hour segments. They then added 1 hour at each end of the 10 hours, 1 for dawn and 1 for twilight. Thus, a 24-hour day was born, reports Science ABC. Ancient Egyptians measured the day with devices like shadow clocks. However, the Babylonians were the first to divide an hour into 60 minutes. The division comes from their sexagesimal, counting in 60s, system for mathematics and astronomy. They derived their number system from their predecessors, the Sumerians, who used the sexagesimal as early as 3500 BC. Scientific American writes, although it is unknown why 60 was chosen, it is notably convenient for expressing fractions, since 60 is the smallest number divisible by the first 6 counting numbers as well as by 10, 12. 2. Daylight saving time was practiced by ancient Romans. Reenactors from the Roman Deva Victrix 20th Legion parade through the city of Chester as they celebrate the ancient Roman festival of Saturnalia on December 20, 2012 in Chester, England. Saturnalia was the midwinter feast when Romans commemorated the dedication of the temple of the god Saturn. Ancient Romans thought that celebrating Saturn would bring back the light and warmth of summer. Christopher Furlong, Getty Images. While ancient Romans were not familiar with the second, they were definitely well versed in hours and minutes as their empire extended into the regions that the timekeeping measures were invented. Although they did not fix their schedules to the clock the way modern people do today, they did adjust their daily schedules to the sun. During summertime, ancient Romans would often divide daylight into 12 hours regardless of daytime, so that each daylight hour was longer during summer. Romans often used water. 3. Benjamin Franklin suggested daylight saving time for the U.S. American statesman, writer and scientist Benjamin Franklin, 1706 to 1790. Hulton Archive, Getty Images. Founding Father Benjamin Franklin first proposed a type of daylight time in 1784 in his essay, An Economical Project for Diminishing the Cost of Light. The essay was meant to be a joke, directed to the editor of the Journal of Paris, that suggested that Parisians could save on the cost of candles if they got out of bed earlier in the morning, writes timeanddate.com. 4. Daylight saving time used to be known as fast time. Woodrow Wilson, 1856 to 1924, the 28th President of the United States of America. Topical press agency, Getty Images. Prior to World War I, there had been attempts at daylight saving time. Andrew Peters of Massachusetts introduced a DST bill to the United States House of Representatives in May 1909, but it didn't make through committee. Wright sees the daylight, the curious and contentious story of daylight saving time. However, once Germany enacted DST in 1916 in an effort to curb coal shortages and air raid blackouts, Allied countries quickly followed suit. President Woodrow Wilson signed DST into law in 1918 after the U.S. entered the war in 1917. However, the original DST was meant for only wartime and it has gone through many iterations since 1918. The modern version of DST is known as Peacetime DST, and came about in 1966. Daylight saving time is a set calendar date. It is always the second Sunday in March and begins on Sunday, March 12th at 2 a.m. When the clock strikes 2 a.m., it springs forward. 5. Some people want it repealed. Raindrops hang on to crocuses at Kew Gardens on March 1, 2013 in Kew, England. Dan Kitwood, Getty Images. DST is a divisive subject. Proponents usually argue that DST helps conserve energy, promotes outdoor leisure activity during summer nights, which helps with psychological health, and reduces traffic accidents and crime thanks to more light. Urban and suburban people tend to prefer DST. Its opponents tend to be rural people like farmers, reports